While on hiatus, the KLR has been outfitted with fuel injection, probably the most significant change since its complete makeover in 2008. Gone are the petcock and choke, and in my opinion that's a change for the better. I imagine those bemoaning the lost simplicity of carburation are of the same ilk as those who curse the dropped Kickstarter option circa 1996. But why? I can now thumb the big single-cylinder engine to life with all the effort of pushing a button and letting it settle into a loping idle all by itself while the engine warms, a menial task the carbureted version struggled to perform. The 2022 KLR wears a new look and comes equipped with a variety of other upgrades, such as better brakes, LED headlights, and an LCD instrument cluster. Freeway, twisties, and dirt. A 2-day trip from Southern California to the state's central coast afforded me ample time to be impressed with the comfort level of the KLR. Its redesigned fairing provides better wind protection, and I didn't experience any profound wind buffeting of my 5-foot 11-inch frame while riding at sustained speeds in excess of 75 miles per hour. Nor did my hands or fingers ever tire from holding onto the bike's wide handlebar. This, combined with roomy ergonomics and the flat, wide seat with not too soft, not too hard foam, meant I could spend hours aboard the KLR with only the occasional need for fuel demanding I stop. And even then I didn't have to stop often. The combined freeway and backroad twisties of my route included a lot of throttle-to-the stoop accelerating, and the KLR still managed an impressive 41.7 mpg. Considering its 6.1-gallon fuel capacity, that's a 254-mile range. Attacking a gnarled paved backroad that eventually gives way to a dirt fire road is where the KLR felt most at home. The 21-inch front wheel and wide handlebar provide good control when riding over this type of terrain. Kawasaki literature claims increased stability via a change in rake or trail measurements, with the new KLR boasting 30 degrees and 4.8 inches, whereas the old KLR measured 28 degrees and 4.4 inches. Also adding to the bike's stability is a 30 millimeters longer swingarm and a larger, where to spend the money you saved. When it comes to the bike's weakest point, I'd have to say the suspension is the worst offender. Plush on smooth freeway pavement, the fork moves through its 7-9 inches of travel too easily on tight paved switchbacks. Off-road aggression needs to be kept in check, or the combined weight of the bike and rider will have the fork and shock bottoming out in no time. Kawasaki chose not to provide any kind of adjustment to the fork, leaving aftermarket fork internals as the most obvious fix. The stock shock is a slightly better performer than the fork, largely due to its adjustability for preload and rebound. According to Kawasaki, the shock was revised for 2022 with new settings to provide a more planted feel, but an aftermarket component would also be money well spent. Enter the KLR Adventure's non-ABS price tag of $7,699. It's a lot of motorcycle for the money, but you're going to make concessions somewhere. And suspension is one place where Kawasaki saved on production cost. Luckily, you can start typing KLR suspension into Google, and the search engine autofills with upgrade. The money you save buying this bike as new is handily spent on aftermarket suspension upgrades. Horsepower anemia. The mid-range power delivery of the KLR's DOHC single-cylinder engine is fun but could never be considered exciting. The engine's reputation of being nearly indestructible stems from its underwhelming inability to produce much horsepower. While the 652cc thumper isn't going to wow with its power output, it does manage to keep spinning no matter how low you let the revs fall. Surprising to me is the fact that the counterbalanced engine manages to emit a thrum, but not once did I notice my fingers or toes tingling. I won't go as far to say the KLR single is equal in smoothness to the newest offerings from KTM, but there's a significant cost difference to consider. For substantially less money, the Kawasaki motor has proven itself to be a traveler's companion. The larger front disc brake brings the bike to a stop decently at moderate speeds in the dirt, but it can get a little overwhelmed when asked to do the same quickly while traveling at freeway speeds. There's a good feel at the lever, but of course neither it nor the clutch lever offer any adjustability. Minimal impact, maximum damage. For an extra $1,000, the Adventure model differs from the standard KLR by way of saddlebags, LED fog lights, engine guards, a tank pad, a DC power outlet, and a USB socket. That seems like a pretty good package price, but let's break it down. The DC power outlet and USB socket are worth their weight and cost. Plug your phone into the USB socket, and you no longer have to worry about it dying when following a map, chatting with your significant other, or listening to your tunes through your Cardo Pack Talk. There's a funky external cover on the USB socket that doesn't stay sealed, but it's followed by a second internal cover that keeps the port clean. The DC outlet makes it easy for anyone to utilize their heated gear. Wonderful, the tank pad is nice and the engine guards will, for the most part, do the trick protecting exposed bits and pieces, but that's where the accolades end. The LED fog lights do a good job illuminating the darkness, but while they're mounted on metal carriers, the housing is plastic and susceptible to damage. So are the plastic saddlebags. My initial inspection of the KLR Adventure led me to believe the saddlebags wouldn't survive a punch from my 5-year-old daughter. My fears were given voice when, upon returning from lunch to where I parked the KLR in downtown Long Beach, I found the bike prone on its kickstand side. The left side fog light was hanging by its wires, and the saddlebag suffered a huge crack and a broken hinge. A lot of damage for a mere tip-over, let alone an actual crash somewhere off the beaten path. Otherwise, I love the saddlebag's one-key locking mechanism, and the ease with which they go on and come off the bike.